Okay, so this is my contribution to the Free Max Adler's Voice campaign. Um, no time like last minute to make your video, but okay. Um, I think I already wrote a little blurb about, you know, whatever, but making a video is nice too. Um, so basically, and I stated other reasons for it, and I have several personal reasons why I want it to happen, but it just kind of occurred to me another really good reason for ideally why I would like to see him, come to terms with himself and apologize and that be accepted. And I mean a legitimate apology, that the big one to everybody did not count, and the one to Kurt did count, but he needs okay. And why I would like to see him join the club, because this is his last year. I believe I have that right. I know I watched the Glee Project like once, and then they said this is the last year with these kids, except for Sam, I think. I think he's a. Anyhow, but. So this is his last year, and a lot can happen in a year, and that's what I'm hoping for him, because the world after high school is, I don't even know how to describe it unless you've, already been through there. And I feel bad about it, but sometimes I really do. I look at people with, unless you have something really substantial going on in your life that is like, holy crap, how do you deal with that? But for the most part, kids whose biggest problems anymore are homework and drama with their friends, and who's dating this person and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really crucial time, and that's one of my points. But you know, once you get into the real world, and once you have to either go to college or you get a job or you do whatever, you see that it's so different, and it's so much, not to intimidate anybody, but it's hard. It's really, and this is coming from somebody who has an amazing support system. So people who don't have that, yeah. So basically, I want these things to happen, and I want, because I'm, I know it's a, yeah, okay, whatever, but if this were a real situation, I would say I want this, because I don't want somebody like that who has such a big problem with himself going out into the real world and still feeling this way, because that's gonna be so destructive, and kind of that path that Santana set out for him. Yeah, I mean, that's, and I don't want that, because I see so much more there. And I know that, of course, when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, when I was in elementary school, each school that I was in, I always thought that this was going to be the hardest part of my life ever, that this was going to be the hill to climb, that this was going to be whatever. And then, of course, I got to the next level and thought, oh my god, but it does get better, it does get easier, it does get whatever. So, but, anyhow, one of the things that really helped me a lot was, and it was kind of by accident that it even happened, back in middle school, blah blah blah, I couldn't take gym, and I had to have an elective, and I got put into chorus. It happened. But I didn't really have to stay there after, I think, the first year or something. I could have taken, I could have taken art, I could have taken technology, I could have taken whatever, but I stuck with it. And I stuck with it for the rest of middle school, for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then I went to high school and I joined chorus, and I stayed all the way up until my last semester of my senior year, because my schedule just would not. But big part of the reason for that is, and I'm not even the best singer ever, I'm not, I like to sing in the car, I like to do whatever, but I definitely, I'm not going to be trying out for like American Idol anytime soon. But the point of the matter is for the first time, and maybe that's why I have such a connection with this show, but it was because the first time I felt like I really fit in somewhere, because in high school, for all intents and purposes, I was invisible. There are probably a lot of people now who, or, when I get to my 10-year reunion, who aren't gonna know who the hell I am when I show up, and that's fine in a way. It's like, at least I was never targeted for anything, or I was never the center of a lot of drama, but, being invisible kind of sucks sometimes. But when I would go into that room, and when we would, perform at concerts, and just when we were rehearsing and going on trips with these people, and I made some really great friends, and I had most of my best memories from high school stem around being in that chorus, and I'm kind of actually getting emotional thinking about it. Wow. But anyhow, but there was just this sense of belonging, because it was an uncool thing to do. I think so much to even the point I don't even think they have a chorus anymore, which is really, really sad to me. But I'll digress. Because even the band kids were legends in that school, and I'm sorry, but my hair is okay. Okay. But even because we had like a really, oh my god, we had a really, really great band, and they were not just anything between band and chorus, but they were given, it seemed like anyway, a lot more than we were ever given. And my high school was weird. I'm getting off track, but it was like if you were a really smart person, or you were in band or whatever, you weren't, it was weird, but you were the same level as the jocks and the cheerleaders and stuff. So just within your own rights, and they were kind of legends. They kind of, in a weird way, ruled the school. That's just how it was. But the chorus kids, not so much. So we kind of were a big group of freaks, a lot like this glee club. Even though we weren't a glee club, we were just a chorus. But anyhow, back to the point is that, we all didn't really belong anywhere, and, we kind of felt bad about that most of the time, but when we were in there and when we were performing and doing whatever, everything felt okay. And it gave me a lot of confidence, and it gave me a lot of a sense of who I really was. Now that I look back on it, I didn't think so at the time, but it really did. So basically, I think another good reason for this to happen on the show is because I'm hoping that, like I said, after all these things happen, him apologizing and whatever and coming to terms with himself is easier said than done. He can do all of those things, but it's still an uphill climb. Just with a lot of things, like people who, even, me for instance, who have a hard time, accepting their outward appearance and things like that. You can look in the mirror one day and say, I've had enough, I'm tired of it, I'm not, but that doesn't fix it. Just like that, it's still an everyday struggle. So I think that if he joined the club, and if he became friends with these kids and had a lot of these wonderful experiences and memories, even for just a year, that it's going to have such an impact on who he is and where he's going to go. And yeah, I just really want the best for him. So is apparently unpopular as that is, I don't really care. But so that's another good reason. I think sometimes being able to express your voice in such a way is kind of a way to find your own personal inner voice, and that's really what needs to happen with him. So let's keep fighting the good fight, and maybe, just maybe, we have a whole season, and if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be really disappointed, of course, but that's the way it is. But in the meantime, I'm gonna hold out hope that it will, as I think it would be for the best, and so do a lot of people. So free his voice.